Hi, I'm Jean Meserve. We have taken a look at the global economy, but now let's narrow the focus and talk specifically about Japan, one of the world's largest economies and one that's been working aggressively to increase foreign investment. Joining me is Keiko Honda. She's an adjunct professor at Columbia University's School of Public and International Affairs. She's former CEO of the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, an arm of the World Bank. Also joining us is Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. Keiko, let me start with you. How do you assess the current state of the Japanese economy and outside interest in investing in Japan?
Hi. Japan's stock market is currently experiencing its strongest performance in the last 30 years, driven by improved GDP growth, rising wages, enhanced corporate governance through modified codes, and Tokyo Stock Exchange's push for PBL improvements. Historically, Japan has a strong commitment to the rule of law. The yen as a major currency easing concern of transfer and conversion risk. The Tokyo Stock Exchange covered diverse industry, providing ample liquidity. As of March 2023, more than 30% of Japanese listed stock were owned by non-Japanese investors. Then, in addition, the revised NISA, or Nippon Individual Saving Accounts, introduced in January 2024, is expected to attract more Japanese retail investors to the capital markets. That's the situation right now.
Keiko, the Japanese government has been working on a series of policies to become a leading asset management center. On December 13th of 2023, the government presented a specific policy plan centered on reforming asset management companies and asset owners. What kind of impact do you expect that to have on the Japanese economy in the future?
The recent policy plan to promote Japan as a leading asset management center aims to overhaul the investment management chain, involving various stakeholders, as you mentioned, so not only asset managers, but also asset owners, retail investors, corporations, and other capital market participants. Prime Minister Kishida personally commits to driving these reforms to position Japan as an attractive destination for the investors. Furthermore, multiple municipalities are planning to establish special zones for financial and asset management businesses, offering additional incentives. Tokyo Stock Exchange has mandated, in addition, simultaneous disclosure of financial results in both English and Japanese for all companies listed in the prime section of the exchange. So I think this will have a very meaningful impact.
Larry, how do you evaluate Japan's policy for promoting Japan as a leading asset management center?
There's $15 trillion of money in savings. We're talking huge sums of money. And most of that is in cash. And by the new policies, as Keiko discussed, related to NISA, the NISA changes, the reforms now for the asset management industry is now going to be transforming huge pools of money that have been sitting in savings accounts and investing now into the capital markets, into the Japanese equity markets. This is a profound change. Historically, Japanese retail investors kept most of their savings in a bank account. I would say this is an expression of fear. You don't keep long-term savings in a bank account unless you're not certain of your future. And the Japanese government, the Kishida government, has created these new reforms, as Keiko suggested, about the rising equity market. We are now starting to see more hope that the future, that their children's future is going to be better than it has been over the last 30 years. And this is a profound change. And I believe this is going to deliver the confidence to most investors to continue to invest in long-term transforming savings into long-term investing. And I believe this is going to be critical. And this is a great measurement that there's a renewed hope in Japan. And this hope will be transformed into a bolder, bigger capital markets. Having a bolder and larger capital markets will allow the Japanese companies to compete better globally. Having a higher PE allows these companies to perform better. And so I'm quite optimistic on Japan, on these reforms. And this will then now allow new opportunities for international investors to come into Japan.
So what are your expectations for future investment in Japan?
This past October, BlackRock led with the Kishida government a group of international investors to come to Japan to learn about Japan. By and large, most of these investors were not heavily invested in Japan. In many cases, they avoided Japan. It was not a good destination for long-term savings. The investors came away with much more enthusiasm, much more confidence that investing in Japan, and we're witnessing that in 2023, and we're beginning to see that here in 2024. We're witnessing international investing coming back into Japan. And I believe this is going to be the foundation for years to come, a Japanese renaissance. There's also great changes within the Japan economy. Most people will say the demographics of Japan have been a drag. Now with robotics, now with AI, the demographics are going to become an optimistic portion of Japan. Japan is going to be a great destination for the utilization of AI, great destination for robotics. And so Japan will have the ability to grow GDP with better technology. And because Japan is heavily oriented towards technology, and now with the renewed savings from the new NISA accounts, I believe you're going to see more investing, more opportunities for international investors to invest in Japan in the coming years ahead. And when you look at the reimagination of globalization, China is a place where you're starting to see outflows from international investing. And for years, they had inflows. Japan is one of those countries that is a destination for this reimagining of global flows. And I believe that will continue in the years to come, especially as Japan adapts a speedier trend in AI, in robotics, to lift productivity and to lift GDP, and that will reinforce the investing in these accounts by the retail investors that they're going to witness long-term positive trends in their investing.
Thank you, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, and Keiko Honda of Columbia University. And now back to the Washington Post.